Yeah, the movement went in a lot of different directions, right? The execution of Troy Davis is probably not like part of the average Occupy Wall Street narrative, but it was an important part of the sequence in terms of people's like learning during that period.
I'm not familiar with that. What happened there?
Troy Davis was a man in Georgia, I believe, who was executed, widely believed to be innocent, and he was executed. Let me make sure I don't get it wrong.
Please, yeah, yeah, no. If you got to Google on the fly. I don't mind.
Was it in September? Right, September 2011. So at basically the same time. Um, and it was a very weak case, and there was a real national effort to halt the execution, and it went through anyway in September, that was 6 days before the official start of the occupation, and a month after we had the first General Assembly.
What were they accusing him of doing?
I think it was a murder during a robbery, I think.
And how did this relate to Occupy Wall Street?
Well, that was a big question, right? And it was part of an understanding of the criminal justice system, and the same police who we were fighting in the street, that they were fighting to preserve the system of capitalism, were also the same people who were arresting black people, on the street in New York for just walking around, and that these were interrelated conflicts. And again, like, it gets written out of the history, but that was a big moment for that group of people, for sure.
I see. So you're saying that in terms of how people in the Occupy movement perceive the criminal justice system, his execution was, although not directly related to Occupy Wall Street, it had a major impact on people there.
Yeah, on people's understanding of the political situation, of America. Because Troy Davis is a black man who was murdered by the state of Georgia, sort of in front of everyone, as with this sort of perversion of the state justice system, or what we came to understand, what certain people came to understand as the normal functioning of the criminal justice system.
Speaking of protest movements and political activism, one of the things we haven't mentioned that's facing all of us, but will affect millennials in particular, is the threat of climate change. Having been involved in Occupy, what are your thoughts on groups like the Sunrise Movement or Extinction Rebellion? Do they give you any hope for the future?
I think the people who've been put in movement by them do. I think those particular forms don't interest me much. The Sunrise Movement is very policy focused. They're focused on lobbying the political system. So protest is a kind of lobbying, which isn't really my deal. And the Extinction Rebellion, I'm not sure exactly I know what their program is. I'm not really with it. I don't really dig it.
Why is that?
I think they rely on some really bad research about how social change happens. That's foundational to them, but was also produced by the State Department. So they have this like fundamental commitment to nonviolence, because they think that's how that this like research project shows that that's how societies change. And it's like, I think, not just like nonsense, but really harmful nonsense. So I think like a lot of the people involved give me hope, but I hope and I expect that they will be fed up with the insufficiency of the current strategies and tactics pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's my perception is, and I may not be as clued into it as you, because I wasn't aware of the fact that they're basing some of their ideas on State Department research or anything like that. But I think I agree with you. I think that it's good to go through a stage of trying things at a base level and seeing how they work, and then responding to events and seeing if you have to escalate and so on. Um, do you do you think when I mean, I don't know how closely you're paying attention to the Democratic primary. Are any of the candidates, in terms of the issues we've talked about today, are any of the candidates giving you hope, or I mean, is it just a list of people to choose who you're going to compromise for?
Well, I mean, it's definitely that. I'm not a Democrat, so I try not to pay too much attention. If I were a Democrat, I would vote for Bernie Sanders. And I'll vote for whoever the Democrats nominate in the general election because I live in Pennsylvania, just like I did last time, and I voted for Hillary Clinton, even though I'm not like a Hillary Clinton fan, obviously.
Right.
So I view voting as very low stakes for me. Yeah, it's not.
No, fair enough.
I don't think any of those people are gonna help us, and I hope they don't kill Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't get Epstein.